Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to another ink video. This is going to be quite different. This is Ink Flight 35 and I have done full profiles on the first two inks here. But the last five, I want to show you what I've been up to in my ink journal. And just in the interest of really getting a chance to look at them, but without diving quite as deep, I thought I'd try this and just see how it went. So I will link you to this. I guess this is more of a brown, but to me it's an orange, this first one. And then this teal color, I'll link you to those in case you haven't seen them. But we'll do a little preview too. So what I'll do is start out in my Bond Travel Gear ink journal, and I'll be right back with that. Okay, and as most of you know, or some of you know, it's now January 2020, and my goal for this year is to really dive deep with what I already have for inks, pens, notebooks, and stationery things. So this was the last, the December 2019 ink flight, and I'm staying, my best efforts to stay out of that subscription for right now, because I have a whole container of them that I still want to go through, you know, one by one. I love it and probably will return someday. But these are the Tasha inks, and they're made in Japan by this company here. Let me get that real close for you, where my thumb is, or my forefinger. I can't really pronounce it. But we started, Ink Journal put out 7 samples in January from this company, and I fell in love with them, and I purchased more samples of just as many of them as I could find, because I love the way the Tasha ink performed. And then we ended the year with another ink flight with Tasha inks. So this one, since there's a full profile for you, I won't go too crazy on it, just to show you in case this is the first you're seeing of them. And I guess it's a warm yellow brown, but like I said, it really reminds me of an orange. I mean, I can't help it. It's on that spectrum. So I found that it had a little bit of ink resistance. It's about approximately 50 cents per mil. It's got a little complexity here, but I'll let you look at the full review in case you're interested in this one. The splatter was really amazing too. It had a lot of shading there. It had shading in the writing, so I really was excited about it. Yeah, and my first impressions were like it usually is with the Tasha inks, just impressive flow to these inks, generally speaking. So, okay, so let's move to the next one. I want to really take time with the other 5 that I haven't profiled. So there's also a full profile on this one, which is, the English name is Rust Green. And so it has a lot of red sheen on it, but it's a teal. Well, I've got a kitten in my preferred studio and a neighbor dog back here in my secondary location that barks constantly, so I'm not sure how this will go, but we'll keep trying. So this is the second one that I've done a full profile on. I did find that it had quite a bit of water resistance. That was real interesting. I mean, you end up with this turquoise looking, everything else washes away, but that was really interesting. And nice chromatography too, 50 cents a mil. And widely available, so that was nice. Lots of impressive red sheen. Just, let's see if we can catch that. It's a little bit harder over here. I'm really hoping to get back to making videos at my primary pen desk soon. I think the kitten will settle down eventually, but okay, so then next we hop right into this one. This is the Tasha Lip Color Pink Beige. This is a different line than the other two. This is their lip color line, and it's cheaper ink by a little bit. It's a 30 ml bottle is $12, and so that makes it 40 cents a milliliter. This had just impressive chromatography. It was just crazy. I did have a technical difficulty. Well, it was a stupidity difficulty with my Lamy fine nib, and I do believe that the color that was coming out was due to an error on my part. So yeah, there was some blue ink that stayed behind in that pen, which is very rare for me, but that happened, and I actually made a pen change after that. I decided to go ahead and try a Genhao X750 with a Goulet fine nib that I just ordered with a gift certificate from a pen friend. So we'll see, you'll see that as we progress. This one also had a little bit of water resistance. not, you know, not a too much, and it does end up that weird colored blue, but you could still read what was there after a 20-minute submersion in the water. So that was just crazy. I didn't like this ink much, but you can probably tell why if you've watched my other videos. It's not saturated enough, but I think it would be kind of fun for artwork or, you know, kind of accents. It's almost a flesh color, really. So it has a lot of potential for different things. Okay, so moving right along. The next one really surprised me. This is the Tasha Lip Color Rose Pale, and it's just so incredibly bright that it actually competes with Diamine Hope Pink. And we'll compare those. Let's compare them now so that I don't forget, because sometimes I'll promise something. So this is today's, this is the ink on this page, Lip Color Rose Pale by Tasha. And then this is Diamine Hope Pink. Now, if I get it held just right, you could maybe see it compares very well. I mean, it has a lot in common. I think it has just a little bit more water resistance than Hope Pink, but not much. But for brightness and beauty, that's really interesting. Now, I know you can get Diamine Hope Pink, I think a 30 mil for maybe, in the United States, you can get it for $8, but a lot's less in the United Kingdom. So there is an issue of cost there, but if you really like this and you like how the ink performs, I don't have Diamine Hope Pink in bottle form. The only pink I have in bottle form is this one, the Lamy Vibrant Pink, which is not the same. It's not as bright, even whatever the camera might do to it right now. But I like it. It's very nice to write with. So, and then I wanted to compare one more pink for you, and that is another Tasha ink that had some gold sheen on it. Let's see if we can see it. I've done a full profile on this one though. So that's a Tasha ink with gold sheen, and it's bright, bright, bright. I mean, and it's darker. It's a little more saturated. So that's interesting. I just thought, you know, not a full-blown thing, but I thought I would just show you a couple. I like the splatter too. It was really pretty. Let's see if I can make that just a little bigger. Yeah, that was fun. Lots of fun. It showed the shading qualities to it. It's not a heavy shader in my pens, but I'm working with steel nibs, and they're all pretty straightforward, and there's not much flex. There's no flex really in those nibs. So but it still was a very nice looking one. Okay, let's put that back because I do want to show you. The chromatography was pretty straightforward. It just showed a little bit of lingering line there, and that's what we got with the bath test. Once again, 40 cents per mil. And Venice, a 1938, you could get a 4 mil sample. But I recommend on all of these, or any ink really that you're thinking of a bottle, I would get a sample first, because we are dealing with screens and lighting and all kinds of different issues when we try to see things online. And so these are not going to look exactly the way they will to your eye. Okay, so next is a really pretty ink that also took me by surprise. And this is where I started using the new review pen for the fine nib. I put the Lamy fine nib, it's Lamy Vista. I put that away for the first time in a couple years. It's in a pen case. It doesn't know what to think about that. And so I've got a Goulet fine nib on this one, and I'm not sure what to think yet. I had a couple of issues, but I thought, well, it's good to practice while I'm just doing these small ink profiles just in the journal here like this. So, again, I found this one at Venice in 1938 for $20 for the 40 mil, making it 50 cents a milliliter when you buy it by the bottle. I liked how it looked in the stub nib. It kind of lightened it up, which was really pretty. And what that did was kind of made me think of a little bit. I mean, not entirely, but it did, when it got in that nib, it made me think of Ackerman No. 5 Dutch Masters, that Israel's Sea Blue, I think is the name of it. Oh, I just love that ink. When I profile that, and I can't seem to forget about it. But it's brighter and maybe different in the broad nib, but then when you get it in that stub nib, that's what it reminded me of. And yet you can see there's a lot of difference. This is the Ackerman in my right hand. This is the Tasha. So that was just really amazing. And if you'll notice, again, it was another really complex chromatography and lots of ink, water resistance. Let's see. See how much more water resistance that had than the lip color. Let's see if we can compare it to. And then, of course, here it was just a smearing, but there was a lot of readability with that rust green as well. This, I guess, translates to light blue, but I'm not sure about that. I kept plugging it in to get a translation, and the only thing I could find was on one of these websites, probably Van Ness, it said light blue. So, but I'm not going to guarantee that's a translation. That's just what they're calling it. So, and I liked it even in the fine nib. This was my first full testing with the fine nib, with the Goulet nib instead of the Lamy. First impressions, nice ink with complexity. Yeah, and there was a nice shading throughout. Really, that was really nice. Oh yes, and I put a note, I'm currently using blue denim. Okay, let's take a look at blue denim beside that one. I realize that this isn't the same as what I usually do, but when you see the pile of catching up I have to do, I just am trying this as an experiment. This is what I'm using. Well, I'm using this one, and let's see, I don't know if I even I didn't pull out Lake of Fire but I have a full bottle of Robert Oster Blue Denim, which is nice and bright and reminds me of this one, maybe a little more saturated, the Blue Denim. And also Lake of Fire, so I have no business delving into any kind of looking really hard at these colors. So, okay, let's see. It's really distracting me with the dog. I'll have to listen to this and see if you can hear me at all. Okay, so then next we have a dark brown. It's Tasha, and it's got this name that there's no way I can pronounce, but it's very dark brown for sure, well saturated. And look at that chromatography. You could see the black just stays behind, and it did the same thing with the water test. You can see how water resistant it is, really. This is another one that's, let's see, this one I found at Anderson Pens, $20 for 40 mil. $2 for 3 mil. That's a nice sample, just like the Van Ness samples that I found. And I also was seeing it at Pen Chalet, but for some reason I didn't put down a price. I think they were listing limited availability, but that's, you know, that's for you to look at where you want to order it from and see where you can get it, either close to you or where you want to order from. But I thought it was really pretty. It was pretty dark for me. I put very dark, nicely saturated, complex, and water resistant. So that's something that it's good to learn or know, I think. Okay, so last but not least, oh, wait a minute. It seems like I had a comparison for you on this one too. Okay, this is today, or this is this dark brown. What did I pull out? I pulled out a couple of them. I pulled out Monteverde Brown Sugar, which doesn't really compare. There's more red in this one. And then I thought, actually, Kaveco Caramel Brown is so much less resistant to the water, but the color-wise, you're getting real close, you know? And really, same with this one, Monteverde Chocolate Pudding, doesn't have any resistance to the water. You wouldn't find this kind of thing. But it's a nice shade, and it's close. So, you know, we know the Monteverdes are very affordable. I think the Kaveco, it's 30 mil is... that's pretty expensive. It's probably equivalent to this Tasha ink. And that's just right off the top of my head, but I just thought I'd throw in a couple just so we could compare. And then last but not least, here we go again. Okay, was this one, which I put down terracotta red, but it's actually red soil. I think terracotta red is a descriptor, but red soil is more what it's supposed to mean. And it's really pretty. It's kind of a cross between a brown and an orangish kind of color to me. And look at that chromatography. You do get a gray line that stays behind, and then it goes up into yellow and light orange and dark orange. Wow, it's impressive. And then you get some water resistance. I almost did this one twice. I thought, I expected more of that gray to stay behind. I probably should have done it twice, but I really didn't. I'm kind of a miser when it comes to paper, so I guess that's why I didn't do it again and wait the 20 minutes and time it and everything. But let's see. I had a little trouble with the feed on that pen, which was odd because I didn't, let's see, well, that's only the third one. So I'll have to keep testing and see whether that was anomaly. It probably was. Could have even been how I was holding it down at the bottom of the paper like that. And I do need more trials. It's still loaded up in here. Let's see. I think I'd find a place to write that isn't quite so hard. It doesn't really matter to me. It'd be nice if I could find a place with enough space, but I was just having trouble. Yeah, but I'm not right here, so isn't that interesting? I really thought that it was just me or just the angle I was trying to write at, or probably I was trying to avoid the kitten walking all over the paper, you know. So I think this is what's happening here where you see that it doesn't look like it's writing good. That was me. You could tell because over here I'm not having any trouble now. So that was ink flight 35 with these beautiful Tasha inks. And like I said, let me pull out what I have here. I've got more to go through. I'm not sure what order I'm going to work in because one of my other goals is to complete, should have probably done this first. I want to complete reviews on all of my full bottle inks. And at this point right here, I've done half of them. Or that's the closest percentage I can come up with, is right around 50% of them. I went through, made a special chart and checked them off. So that will be really nice because I won't be restricted to the 2 mils that I have when I review or profile or, you know, mini profile or whatever the ink flight ones. I think 2 mils is probably enough for almost anybody, but when you start reviewing, it gets a little frustrating sometimes. So that will be something to look forward to. Working on each one. And also, I've already found 2 bottles to eliminate from my collection. And that could happen because of so much, I wouldn't call it, you know, complete duplication. But there is duplication where I was very, I don't even know what to call it. But you that are following me, subscribers who are following me know this is a depth year for me. This is a low spend at least, and some categories like, you know, it's going to be a no spend if I can pull it off, and that's what I'm working on, my habits. So doing reviews of the full bottles I have is up there on the top of my list. And then I've got, let's see, these are the Troublemaker inks. This was ink flight 33. October 2019. And, you know, I'm thinking of ways, there were a couple of, I think there were a couple of these that worried me about even putting them in my pen because there was so much particle in the shimmer inks, but that'll be fun. So I've got them segregated so that I can stay organized and probably just run right through a series like I did with the Tasha inks. And depending on feedback, you know, there may be 1 or 2 that you guys want to see more of than just a mini review. And then this one is the Vinta inks. I was really excited about doing these, even though there's a couple that are very lightly saturated. Let's see. Let me pull this out and look at it. Got them. Yeah, there's like that one. I can just imagine what's going to happen when I get that in a fine nib. And maybe even that blue one. But you see, this represents the reason why I have to put that on pause, because I haven't gotten to these, and I'm so excited. I paneled them up and have them on you know, the square panels. So this will be coming eventually. This is kind of like what I like to do in my spare time, is ink up with these and do all kinds of, you know, practicing and testing, even if I'm not doing a full review. So whatever I do, I'll share with you. Oh yes, and I got a good start on the Monteverde ones. In fact, I think I've got that in my ink journal. This is getting a little informal here. I apologize. Of course, you've already gotten what what this was about. So let's see. Yeah, I got a really great start. Oh my. I got it all. This is what I actually like to do. I didn't take the time on the Tasha ones to do it. Delving into the new book, Atomic Habits, and working on really changing my habits with acquiring and spending and so forth. But I got a really good start, and I did... I reviewed Monteverde Blueberry Muffin, and then, well, that's it. So I've got 6 more of those to work. 6? Yeah, 6 more Monteverdes, and those are gorgeous. And knowing what I know about Monteverde inks, that's the kind of thing. This is definitely going to be a good exercise in diving deep, going back into those. And oh yes, the pure pens, I think, it's hard to tell by the label, but I think there's 2.5 mil of each of these. And see, this is the reason why I just can't bring in more, you know, ink flights, because I haven't even gotten a chance to write with these yet. So these are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, beautiful inks from Pure Pens, from pen friend Annie. So I can't wait to look at those too. And they're all there's gonna be crossover. Each one has the tops. You know, we'll be able to compare the colors, and there'll be a lot of crossover too. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you that it's not like I have to defend myself to anybody here. You guys know the history behind that. So that's it for this video. And I would like to know if this was interesting at all or helpful in terms of those Tasha inks. I've got them all spread all over the place now, so I've destroyed the panel, I think. Let's see, the lip color. Yeah, let's just look at them. We'll look at them one more time, and as I'm trying to talk. That never works out good to try to talk. And oh, I had wanted to show you, let's see, I didn't have anything. Let's just move these. It's not mounting to anything. But I had this lip color, pink beige, and I had nothing that looked like it. But there were a couple in saturation level and so forth that reminded me, and it was these two. This is Birmingham Corroded Tin. It's kind of a salmon-y color, or a pinky color, rather than, this has more bit of the beige, so it makes it darker. And also, this Birmingham ink has some water resistance, so that was interesting. And then, in terms of really pink and not very saturated, the Twisby Pink. And that's another set of inks that I want to go through each one and have a good time, you know, splashing around with it, trying it out on the ink journal, and then sharing the results with you. So that is all, and I really thank you for joining me, and we will be looking at more ink, but I also have other things that, that I'll be talking about on the channel, so I'm really excited about it. I've got one project that I can't wait to show you, and hopefully it doesn't turn out to be too crazy. Some of you are already probably going to be getting mail soon that you might already know what I'm up to with the ink splotches, but I won't say any more yet. Okay, I'll see you soon, and thank you very much. Bye for now.